Yeah, see, but I'll draft some of these guys, but it all depends on. I can't, in good conscience, drop Bellinger all the way down my list just because of the fact that I think that
Yeah,
he's a good
look,
player.
you would look like an
I'm
idiot.
just personally not drafting him.
Yeah, that is weird. That is a weird one.
It's one of those things where if I'm making a list, I have to look at the talent and go, okay, Bellinger's a year removed from hitting 45 homers, and he was the ML MVP if I'm correct, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the guy had an outstanding season, and he's got the talent to do it. We've seen it in the playoffs. He's on a great team. There's no reason to think he can't do it again. But if I was a betting man, I feel like it's 50-50. It could go one way or the other. But if I was a betting man, I would bet it goes more towards the lower side.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
But,
yeah. We just spent about 5-10 minutes talking about it. These are guys that we think are somewhat talented, but we're not going to draft. I'm just throwing that out.
I'm going to draft them. Don't get me wrong. It's all about value, like we're saying. When I put this list together, I had to put certain guys in certain places for my own personal well-being.
Cody Bellinger, I'll draft him one day. It's probably about 6 years away. And at that point, he'll be like the 110th pick or the 130th pick of the draft.
All right. Anyway, I'm jumped around all over the place. So I left off at Pete Alonso. I had him at 6, and then we'll go Luke Voit. I will draft Luke Voit 7. I like Voit. Voit's a guy that I'll take in my corner infield all day.
What's his ADP? Because I think
it's
he's
61, and he's right around Alonso. If I can't get Alonso, who I like over him,
I would take Voit.
I'll definitely take Voit. I'm not taking him over him, to be honest with you. I like that upgraded Mets team. Plus Alonso's really young. I mean, he's got a ceiling to hit way more than 50 homers. He could hit 65 homers. I mean, that power is real, man.
I don't think he'll ever hit 50 home runs again. He might get in the low 40s.
There's absolutely no way. You can put it in stone that he's hitting 50 homers this year. I'm in the complete opposite camp. But anyway, Luke Voit, I love the Yankees lineup around him. As long as he stays healthy, which he's proven that he did last year.
And as I said, the Yankee Stadium is easier to hit than the Coors Field. Yeah,
he's a lock for 35 homers.
Yeah, he is. He's health, but other than that, he's a lock.
I think he's one of the safest locks for 35 homers in all of baseball this year.
And that's why I like the risk on him more than I like the risk on Alonso, and more than I like on Bellinger because of the displacement. You can get Bellinger type numbers, and I think there's a legitimate thing that I think that there is always that inflation on guys that have super good years, and you throw in the fact he's a Yankee.
Sure,
I think he could be out of my price range.
I like Voit, man. I think Voigt's got a good price range for this year. I mean, 63 is not a bad ADP. I mean, especially when I feel like I feel like that's like the end of you don't want to mention too many tiers, but I feel like that's the end of like the main tier before guys.
I think that I don't know how, and I'm sure these guys are the next couple in your list of Rizzo and Goldschmidt. I don't know how you can't talk about those guys in the same area. Goldschmidt is going to hit.
Rizzo concerns me a little bit. So does Goldschmidt. I have concerns with both of those guys. Goldschmidt especially. Just because he's not getting any younger, and we've seen a drastic decline in terms of his batting average, his power, and I don't feel like the Cardinals have a very good team around him.
Rizzo, Bohm, Muncy, Goldschmidt are 2 picks apart in NFBC 15 ADP.
Yes,
102
yes.
104.
So, yeah, I was going to get into that in just a second. So, once we get past Olsen at 88, who I like. Olsen, man, he has elite power. We were talking about that earlier, but
I went on my way this year because I always confuse Matt Olson and Matt Chapman, and I went and I looked at it in the offseason, and I was like, Matt Olson's the one I like, Matt Chapman's the one I don't.
I like Olsen, but he's going to have to throw, based on what I've seen in his career so far, he's going to have a BABIP around 300 just to have a batting average to get over 260. His batting average has been trash, and he's another guy that hit 198 last year.
That's the scary part.
We saw it with Chris Davis. I don't know why these guys, when they tend to get to that low with the batting average, it's really hard to get back over that point for some reason. I don't know if the league just has them figured out, or like you say, they're shifting them properly. Analytics are so insane with what these teams know nowadays that once they break a guy, man, they're broken, in my opinion. So I have question marks about Olsen. That's why I say I have a real confidence in those top 7 guys.
I have a different top 7 than you, but I think that LeMay is a difference maker. I think that Abreu is a very good player. I think that Freeman's a difference maker. But once I get past that, and I'm not even throwing a couple of Olsen in that thing, because I would put Goldschmidt and Rizzo before that. Once I get past that, it's like screw this. The first basemen are kind of scary.
Yeah, they really are. That's why was the point I was going to make. You get past Olsen. I know you don't like Muncy as much as I do. I like Muncy a little more, just because I think he's got easy power. I think he's another guy who's an automatic lock for about 30, 35 homers. The batting average does scare me, but I feel like last year's an outlier, man.
It's up and down with that, and I feel that they have players that are on the come that are going to make his erratic batting average difficult to. I mean, I don't know how they don't play Gavin Lux. I don't know how. I think that AJ Pollock has shown that he deserves to get some playing time. I talked about Edwin Rios with 31 home runs his last full season of the minors and 8 home runs and 78 plate appearances last year. There's just a lot of places there, and all it takes is a bad stretch to fall out of favor. Remember the way that the once great Andrew Ethier fell out of favor there?
Trust me, I understand. That's why I said
Matthew Muncy is the low man on that totem pole. If they're not going to re-sign Turner, they don't like Muncy as much as they like Turner.
Yeah, I understand that. Trust me, Muncy's one of those big questions. Muncy and Olsen both are question mark guys for me. But
yeah,
got to rank them somewhere.
Two guys that I'm probably not going to. I'm not going to have drafted
based
either.
On the power, the guarantee I have, because once we start getting past these guys, this is the reason why I ranked them. When you asked me why I ranked them how I did, it's based on the fact that I feel like even though these guys are batting average risk, they're both power locks to a certain extent. Where I look at a guy like Rizzo, and I could see Rizzo hitting 20 homers this year.
Well, I mean, the thing about Rizzo is that he is much like Abreu, a guy that always hits above 277.
Exactly. He's going to hit 280. But the RBI opportunities, I think, are going to be down, and especially if they trade Chris Bryant, which there's been a lot of rumblings. That may happen. That's my biggest question mark with Rizzo. Why I have him at 10 as opposed to 6 or 7, like you're suggesting, is just because of the fact that I'm concerned about that whole Cubs roster right now. It's in flux, and I just don't know what to expect opening day from them or what we're going to see throughout the season from that Cubs team. At 11, I got a guy, Dom Smith. You're splitting hairs between 97 ADP with Rizzo or 98 ADP with Dom Smith, but I like the young, high upside guy. I like the multi-position eligibility because he is outfield and first base eligible. I like Dom Smith.
Is he a good fielder in the outfield? I'm just wondering about that.
No.
Because the Mets have a serious problem with fielding, which I think is going to – I think that Steve Cohen's going to do a great job owning a team as the owner of the team, but they have a fielding issue, and I think that some guys. I mean, they have like right now, like they have Gold Glove Francis Lindor at shortstop, with Lead Glove, J.D. Davis and Jeff McNeil to play around him.
Jeff McNeil's not good at second either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and then you throw these outfielders it's a weird
Dom
situation.
Smith in the outfield.
Yeah, I think at some point that's going to bite him. That's why they're talking about like signing a center fielder who can.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like you've got one of the best pitching staffs in baseball, and you throw, like you say, stone glove guys in defense. I would be building that team exact opposite. I would be going and getting a guy like Anderson Simmons or somebody like that. I would want the best fielders possible on a team you have guys like DeGrom
and maybe you have one spot. All right, yeah, we have a kind of weak right fielder, or, a kind of weak second baseman. Like you can have one off spot, but yeah, they have it all through their lineup.
I mean, I guess the way I understand building defensively is I was always taught you build strong up the middle, center field, shortstop, second base, catcher. You want those as your strongest defensive positioning. So I don't know, but anyway, I have Paul Goldschmidt a little down that list, man. I have him at 12, and I kind of already touched on that a little bit. Why I have him so low on this list, and I just don't believe in it. We've seen 5 years ago, Goldschmidt was one of those guys you could go a lock for 300. He's a lock for 30. I don't feel that way anymore about him.
Discounting his batting average down to that in my head, he's just 265 hitter, but he's still 30 home runs. He's still a lot of RBIs. He's still batting fourth on a pretty good team.
Yeah, but who is on that Cardinals team? Who is protecting him anymore?
Well, I mean, I don't think you need that. But that team is what was it like? So they don't have Molina, so they have Edmund.
Who the fuck do they have?
They have Edmund, Carlson, De Jong. They have some
I get it.
That they have
there's no
is a
Rendon in
solid
that
player.
lineup like there should
Yeah,
be.
there's no
They
great
need to
player.
go get. That's why there's been chirps about them going and getting Arenado. I mean, I just don't understand why they don't go out and sign Marcell Ozuna again. I mean, they need another bat in that Cardinals lineup. They're paying Goldschmidt all that money, and I feel like it's been a waste.
I know if I could get Goldschmidt as the 10th first baseman, I'd be very happy with that.
I'm not because honest to God, I would rather take Bohm right after him. If you're telling me that I picked my first baseman, let's say my game plan went to plan, and I took LeMahieu like I wanted to, and the end of the second round, whatever. I'm looking for that corner infield slot. I'd fill it with Alec Bohm all day long, or Ryan Mountcastle. I like those high upside young guys versus the old guy where I don't know.
No, I'm on the same boat, but I wouldn't pick Bohm because he's right here, but I pick Mountcastle because he winds up being tons of picks later. And actually, that's what I feel at first base. There are guys at first base that you probably didn't even rank in your top 20 that I'm like, here's guys with lots of power.
I got Jake Cronenworth at 15. Let's say I had Alec Bohm at 13, Ryan Mountcastle at 14, Jake Cronenworth at 15.
Cronenworth's the problem with playing time now.
Josh Bell at 16. Mike Moustakas at 17, Eric Hosmer at 18. I have Trey Mancini at 19 and Rhys Hoskins at 20.
Yeah, because where did you have Mountcastle?
I have Mountcastle at 14. I like him a lot, dude.
No, I like him too.
He might be a star going forward.
But that's I would say there are. It's like once you get past that point where we're starting, the first baseman have a lot of issues. The guys way at the back, there's a lot of really young. I'll settle for these guys. You didn't name Brandon Belt.
I like Mancini a lot, man. I mean, he had the cancer scare last year. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are later on this list that I would take a chance on.
Well, no, that's what I actually believe that too. And are you already at 20?
Yeah, I got a little more than 20. I got 20 and a couple stickers.
These are guys. You got Mountcastle is functionally a rookie.
Yes.
Right?
He's 23 and 24.
Well, he only played a little bit last year, at most 50 games, right?
Sure.
It's not even that, 44, I think. And so you have Andrew Vaughn, Bobby Dahlbeck, Jared Walsh, Josh. What's his name? Josh Fuentes. They have these 5 young guys that are just not even in the top 20, and there's a lot to like about all of those guys.
Yeah, I have Walsh on my sleepers list. I also like Rowdy Tellez a little bit, man.
Rowdy Tellez could fit there, but I would have him behind all the except for maybe.
Tellez is 250. He's low on that list. He's one of those guys I'm going to look for probably in the back end to fill out my bench on a TGFBI or something like that.
Tellez at the end of the season last year when he came back, he had a short injury. When he came back, he stopped. He really reduced his strikeouts over the last part of the season.
Yes,
and but the question is that a blip? Because we're talking literally about the last quarter of a 60-game season.
Yes. Exactly. It's such a small sample size.
Yeah, it's hard to sit there. I think that the numbers were padded by having that he had a really great run at the end, and I think it's not real. It's it's something that will fade away. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I'm not going to make a big move on 12 games, 15 games.
My biggest guy though is Josh Bell, man. I love Josh Bell at the 176 ADP. Fuck yes, dude. Are you kidding me? I think that he is prime for a comeback player of the year type season. He might be outstanding this year. He was so good for the first half of the season in 2019. He was on pace for 50 homers, something crazy. Finished out the year with 38 or something nuts. But, last year he took a step back a little bit, but there was nobody around him. I think in this Nationals lineup, man, I think you might see a whole different Josh Bell. I love him. I love him for the ADP. I really do.
What is it ADP again? Said it
176, man. If you're getting him that late,
you're fine. You're fine.
He got a potential for a guy that could hit you 280 and 40.
I don't think 40 is legitimate, but 280
I think the 40 is legit. The guy is built so ridiculously, man.
He had that came out of nowhere. That 1 year.
I don't, but it's still possible. I realistically think it could be a thing. Well, let's agree to disagree, but I personally like Josh Bell right there.
He's a guy that is probably in that list of people